Welcome to the Kobe Bryant Film Room. And I want to react to this video called From Court to Court, Part 1, right? From RahulPresents Kobe. Now, I reacted to another Rahul Presents Kobe video, and it was pretty good. So I figured I'd pick another one, right? And this one's about the tumultuous 03-04 season. All right, let's get into it.
I was talking to Phil Jackson during the pregame show. If you were not with us, I want to reiterate what he said. He did mention that if Kobe got here around game time, he wouldn't have him rush out to the bench. What he would want him to do was run.
So this is going to show you exactly what Kobe was dealing with, because Rich Paul made those statements about how LeBron has had it harder, right? As far as the media, 24/7 media cycle, right? Well, let's talk about 2004 and what Kobe was going through that year, especially with the media and between playing games, trying to win, and court.
Stationary bike in the back, warm up, get the legs going a little bit, get the heart pump a little bit, and then have him come out about midway through the first quarter and probably then put him in the game. So what I understood was Phil's more inclined to play him tonight than sit him. We might see him about halfway through this quarter. Back up to you.
One of the biggest stories during the Lakers dynasty at the beginning of the century was the push for a fourth championship in 2004.
Yep, we were going for a four-peat, y'all. We were going for a four-peat.
After the team added Gary Payton and Karl Malone to the starting lineup with Kobe and Shaq. Phil Jackson anticipated that the season would be a challenge, but as if managing four alpha male personalities wasn't enough, Kobe Bryant was charged with sexual assault before the season began for an incident that took place in Colorado.
Fight for his life, y'all.
I'm going to share some of the background for this tumultuous year that began with fans expecting a guaranteed championship and ended with a shaky playoffs run and disastrous loss to the Detroit Pistons. Despite the disappointing finale, I hope that by the end of this video, you'll see how some of the Lakers and Kobe Bryant's performances that year were extraordinary, especially when the off-the-court issues are considered.
All the shit he was dealing with.
What some new fans might not know is that while the team did look stacked on paper, the season was anything but easy. All four of the future Hall of Famers battled injuries.
Yep. We had peaks and valleys, man. We had peaks and valleys. We definitely struggled at times, and at times we looked great. And we weren't that consistent monster of a team that we've always been.
Multiple games, so getting the full starting lineup out on the court together was not always possible. Gary Payton and Karl Malone needed to learn the triangle and adjust to vastly different roles than what they were used to on their own individual teams. Phil Jackson claims that it takes several years to truly learn the triangle offense.
That's a crazy shot by Gary Payton.
And so getting everyone up to speed in a few months was not going to happen. And the biggest unknown of all was Kobe Bryant. Kobe's uncertain future, both as a Laker and a free man, are hard to wrap your head around when you truly understand what was at stake all season. It's hard to find a single season or player to compare it to. There were times when the team had no idea.
I don't think you can compare it to anybody. Who's ever went through that? I think that's the first time anybody else, like, of that magnitude, right? Because we know, I think KCP went through it, where he had to go to court. A couple of players had to go through it, but I don't think it was this serious, right? This much of a serious threat to a legacy. Like, matter of fact, to his life.
Whether he would show up to a game or where his head was going to be during the game if he played. There were several unnecessary remarks and immature shots exchanged between Kobe and Shaq, as their relationship was constantly on edge. The team was being held to an extremely high standard because of the roster, when there was still a lot of work to do. Despite all of that, the way Kobe handled himself as a Laker was something perhaps no one else was capable of.
This was the scene here at Staples Center just moments ago. Kobe Bryant.
My boy Kobe had that WWE heel bad guy entrance right there.
As we had
everybody, they hated that.
Bill McDonald alluded to, going to get warmed up, ride the stationary bike, already perspiring, coming out, being greeted by the crowd, and also still being greeted very warmly.
Against all odds, y'all. Against all odds. This is where that commercial comes, where he is doing the orchestra, and everybody's saying they hate him. This is where it comes from, y'all.
By his teammates, and he's coming right in the game.
Shit like this, moments like these.
Phil Jackson tried to reach Kobe multiple times and never got a call back. He and Mitch Kupchak discussed whether they could even expect Kobe to play. They considered offering him a leave of absence because it seemed possible that he might just decide to sit out the entire year. Phil Jackson wrote, "No professional athlete, I believe, has ever tried to perform at the top level of his sport for any extended length of time while fighting to keep his freedom."
It's never happened, y'all. And that's why I'm trying to think of any other situation, because I don't want to misspeak. But I can't think of any situation where another star has went through this. Right? And people talk about pressure and all this other shit. No, nigga, that's pressure. Real life shit. Not knowing when you're going to eat is pressure. Not knowing whether you're going to be free is pressure. Those are two situations where people are facing pressure. And anything that these guys are facing on the court, that's on the court. But losing your wife, losing your family, going to jail, man, that's pressure.
One of the Denver defense attorneys said the defense would want a trial as quickly as possible. "I can hardly see Kobe Bryant going through a whole season with this thing over his head."
Yep.
Soon after, Phil and Mitch received word from Kobe's people that Kobe intended to treat the upcoming season like any other. On top of the already shaky relationship between Shaq and Kobe.
And they said, why did Kobe settle with that lady, blah, 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 give her money or whatever. The reason why you settle is because you don't want the shit to linger on. People who have high status don't want the shit to linger on. They have businesses. They have other things that they're trying to do. In this case, Kobe's trying to focus on his craft and on the season. He wants to get this shit behind him, right? If you look at Michael Jackson didn't say he was guilty. He said he was innocent, but he wanted the shit to go away, right? He just wanted the shit to go away.
Shaq had decided to rehab during the season the previous year.
Sometimes you realize, shit, I got a lot of money, and this person wants money. Just give them the money. You know what I'm saying? It's not worth it.
Which Phil Jackson cited as one of the reasons they couldn't win their fourth championship in a row. Shaq had gotten out of shape in recent years, and it was frustrating to the team. On the other hand, Kobe was dealing with a lot of pressure from the trial, and it caused him to lash out or to be difficult to reach at times. He took quotes in the paper personally, and even said that he wouldn't care.
I think in an interview, Gary Payton said Kobe was paranoid, man. Had security checking everybody's house. It changed Kobe. He said, I think he said it on Vlad TV, it changed Kobe, man. And that would change anybody, right? Your freedom online, it would change you.
If Phil Jackson came back next year or not.
Most definitely.
It seemed like a repeat of The Last Dance. In fact, Phil Jackson even referred to the season as the last chance. There seemed to be no way that Shaq, Kobe, and Phil would coexist beyond this season. The team gave Kobe his space, helping accommodate his constant flights to Colorado and prevented reporters from asking the team questions about the trial. They decided to let Kobe deal with his situation and contribute wherever he could. Phil Jackson said, "How he manages to compartmentalize is beyond me." On December 18th, Kobe showed up
How many athletes, not even just basketball players, how many athletes do you think would have folded through that type of pressure, y'all? Put it down in the comment section. How many athletes do you think wouldn't have folded? Better yet, wouldn't have folded under that type of pressure?
Bench just before the start of the second quarter. Phil noticed that Kobe wasn't quite himself after inserting him into the lineup, as he missed some shots down the stretch, and the Nuggets were able to tie the game at the free throw line with 2 seconds left.
Young Melo. That's Ricky Melo right there. Straight out of Syracuse. Straight off that national championship. Melo was nasty.
Phil drew up a play for Gary Payton at the end of the game with Kobe as the second option.
I wish Melo did an interview. I don't know if he already has, but I wish he did an interview talking about this, because he faced Kobe during that 03-04 season. And I wonder how that was. You know what I mean? Like his mindset, what he think he was going through and things like that. The look, you know, how the attitude of the team was.
But when Peyton didn't
gotta
break
have
free in the
inside
corner,
on that.
the pass went to Kobe, who drilled the game winner. Phil Jackson later said he was his usual
tough
self
shot.
after all.
Hey.
This would turn out to be a theme throughout the season. While others may have taken months or the whole season off to focus on the trial, Kobe was flying back.
Fuck that, just to focus on their family, right? Like, go home, make it right with your wife, or, because you got a baby on the way. Shit's crazy pressure, bro. And people talk about pressure, and they just talk about Mike and LeBron. I'm like, oh, y'all, like, what the fuck is this? Y'all don't know about the pressure this man went through?
Back and forth
Crazy.
On a private jet to appear
Crazy,
in court
bro.
and try not to miss too many games. He would spend a day in court, fly back to LA, and ride in a van with a bike in the back of it so he could warm up on the drive to the game. Sometimes he would show up right around tip-off, and the team would have to plan for adjustments in case he couldn't make it on time.
Tonight, for the LA Olympics will be Kobe Bryant.
And that's one of the reasons why he even had a helicopter, was to beat LA traffic, because the traffic's so crazy, right? It's one of the reasons why he had it.
But the man in the middle, the man that sets the table for everybody, is Shaquille O'Neal. And then, well, I have to include number 8 because he sets the table
I did a
for
short
himself
on that
better than
one, y'all.
anybody.
Y'all check out my short.
This is one
I think y'all
young
enjoy
man
it.
that can win them for you.
Kobe hurt his shoulder. That's the same shoulder Kobe in a lot
I remember that. He played through that whole season with that shit, too. I remember that.
pain right now. Ran into a screen set by Rashard Lewis.
And the Lakers have to take a 20-second timeout, and believe me, they need it because he is in pain.
That nigga was
shows
so
pain.
tough, bro. That nigga was so tough. A lot of niggas would have probably just ran in the back.
You know he's hurting. So
That nigga
let's,
still probably, in his mind, he probably still trying to think of ways he could play.
it's nothing serious.
It's crazy.
Kobe Bryant kneeling on the sideline. Opposite corner from the Laker bench, being tended to by longtime trainer Gary Vee. Another look.
Running into the screen, he actually was being held up by Ray Allen. So he's trying to get his arm out. So he could have gotten his arm out of there.
Ultimately, despite all of this weighing on him and even spraining his right shoulder again in March, Kobe played 65 games during the regular season and didn't miss a single playoff game.
Right? Okay, so what about these stars today, right? These stars today, man, they tear their fingernail off, they out for the season, right? People underrate people underrate intangibles, y'all. Intangibles, right? Fighting through shit. Special, man.
When he sprained his shoulder, the doctor said that he would be missing about 4 weeks. Kobe was back on the court after missing only 2 games and would average...
Y'all hear that? After missing only 2 games. That's another level.
27 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists.
And they talk about shooting percentage, y'all. These niggas is really sweating this nigga about shooting percentage.
Rest of the season.
He shouldn't even be
The
on the
Lakers,
fucking
after
court.
having won only 18 of the previous 30 games, got Karl Malone back in the lineup shortly after Kobe returned and finished the season 15-4.
Gets it back.
Different. It's different, y'all.
Amazing half period against Orlando the other night.
Rahul got some good shit. Y'all subscribe to Rahul Presents Kobe. I don't know if he's making videos anymore, but subscribe, y'all.
Another notable game was against the Orlando Magic, where Kobe had a quiet
If
first
he
half.
don't, I'm gonna continue to kind of showcase a little bit of his videos here because he deserves some recognition, and I think these are classic, right? This is vintage shit.
And sat in the locker room contemplating his troubling situation with his wife Vanessa. The two had fought again that day, and Kobe was not going to be spending that night at home. He ultimately chose to channel his frustration.
Can you imagine, bro? Your shoulder fucked up. You gotta go to court. You arguing with your wife. Then you gotta get on the court. Try and win this chip with a nigga you don't like, with a nigga you at odds with, and then you at odds with your coach as well. And then people pressing you about that shit.
Into taking over the game that Tracy McGrady had been killing the Lakers.
And I don't even remember any time he complained, right? He took it. He took that shit like a man, bro. He took that shit on the chin.
He offered to guard McGrady through the second half, but Phil Jackson said that they needed him to save
How
his
many of y'all are married out there and got to deal with all that shit? Right? Or even think about dealing with that type of shit. It's crazy.
energy for the offense. After they went down 15 to start the fourth, Phil Jackson finally agreed to let Kobe check T-Mac. What resulted was one of the greatest fourth quarter turnarounds for any individual, where Kobe held McGrady to 5 points in the fourth and scored 24 of his own.
I think McGrady was hot. T-Mac was hot that game. Started off strong, and I think Kobe spoke to Mike Miller. And Mike Miller tells the story. Kobe spoke to Mike Miller and said, "Hey, he's just getting started. He's hot, but I'm just getting started." Or something like that. Right? Shit was amazing.
Where LA prevailed. Later on, after Tracy McGrady learned about what Kobe had been dealing with, he said that
y'all look up that Mike Miller quote. That shit was crazy what he said. I know I butchered it. Hey, filet.
A few nights later, the Lakers suited up to host the Sacramento Kings, one of the teams that they expected to face in the playoffs again. Kobe dominated once more. Phil Jackson recalled the game saying, "Kobe was brilliant, scored 36 points only hours after returning from another pre-trial hearing in Colorado. People wonder how he is able to focus on basketball after such an emotional and physically draining experience."
Basketball was his refuge, y'all. When shit wasn't going right, he hit the court. That's why when they were having talks a while back on if they should change the logo or who should be the new logo. Now, I don't have a problem with Jerry West being the logo, but if they were to change it, I think they should change it to Kobe. Because Kobe's what you want your basketball player to be. You want him to play through injuries. You want him to try and be the best ever. You want him to dominate on both ends of the floor, right? You want him to be mentally tough, right? And that's the thing, right? You want him to be a winner. That's the thing.
I don't wonder. Kobe views these games in particular as opportunities to vindicate himself, to say, in effect, "You've seen my face in the courtroom, now I'm going to show you the court where I dominate." At this point, the Lakers had won 6 in a row with Kobe averaging over 30 points on 50% from the field. Phil Jackson said that Kobe had reclaimed his title as the top player in the league.
What? Wait, what about Duncan? Hey, with the left. Bro, imagine playing basketball, your shoulder fucked up. You got to finish with the left. That's hard. That's hard. If y'all know how hard that is, that's hard, y'all.
Coming up that high screen here. That's a left-handed 15-foot shot off the bank. Shoulder injury adding to his game now that he can shoot the left-handed shot with confidence.
That should go hard.
Confidence doesn't 25 points now for Bryant. Also 5 assists and 5 boards. I'm not worried about it. I'm just, I was going to say, hey,
y'all see that fucking shot? Y'all see that shot?
What about this guy's left hand? He's now done it twice. So athletic, probably one of the most skilled players in the league.
If anyone needed one reminder about who was the best player in the league, Kobe made sure to give them 2 during the last game of the regular season. With the division title on the line and Portland's...
I watched that game live. When he hit that shot, I think I was at, was I at my boy's Eric house? We were running around. I was running around with somebody. I don't know if it was him, but man, we were running around the room, man, with our hands in the air. Like, that shit is crazy, bro.
Playoff hopes hanging in the balance. Kobe hit 2 unbelievable three-pointers in the final moments of the fourth and double overtime, the second to win the game with only 1 second on the clock. Phil Jackson said, "I suppose I should marvel at the 2 shots he made."
So I don't. He hit the first one, then came back and followed it up, hit another one. Shit was crazy.
"I've seen too much from him. from Mike.
So that's going to do it from Court to Court, from Rahul Presents Kobe. And this is Kobe Bryant Film Room. I'm out.